are holding the portion of Chaye Soda. They're holding chapter 24, verse number 10. So the servant Eliezer took 10 camels of his masters. And he went all the good things of Avram Avinu was in his hand. And he got off and he went to Aram Narayan, Elir Nachar, to the city of Nachar, where Avram Avinu's brother was. Rashi says, what do you mean the camels of his master? What a special kind of camels. They were actually distinguished than other camels, for when they went out muzzled to avoid stealing, so they wouldn't graze in other fields. So Avram Avinu always made sure that his camels were muzzled. They didn't steal from other people's property. Chol Tuv Adonov. Rashi says, what do you mean that he had all the good of Avram Avinu? Avram Avinu wrote a deed giving everything that he has to Yitzchak, so that in order that this girl should want to come, because she will have a great inheritance. Aram Naharaim, it's called Aram Naharaim because it's situated between two Naharim, between two rivers. Verse 11, and the camels came to kneel outside the city. Al-Be'er HaMayim came to a well of water. Leis Erev, in the afternoon. Seis HaShevis, when the women would go out to draw water. She says, he made them crouch. Yeman, he said the following statement: Hashem Elokei Adoni Avram, God, the God of my master Abraham, arrange the events for me today. I say chesed im Adoni Avram. I'm praying that you should do favor to my master Avram Avinu. Here I stand in the spring of water. And the daughters of the city are going out. Lashuv mayim, to draw water. And then if there will be a girl that I will go over to her and I'll ask her, Hetini no kadich ve'eshta, please, can you give me some water from your pitcher? V'amra, and she will say, drink. And not only you should drink, I'll give for your camels. That shows already a gemilas chasadim. That will show already that she is for Yitzchak. And I will know that you have done kindness to my master. Now she says, she is fit to him, for she will be charitable and thus worthy for entering Abraham's house. She's a charitable girl. The expression of echachta means proves. And I will know her, meaning let me know through her that this is the right girl. She will be by my master's family is suitable for him as a wife. I will know that you have acted kindly to my master. By he and before he ended speaking in his prayer. And behold, Rivka goes out. Which she gave birth to Besuel, the son of Milcah. Which was the wife of Nachor's family. Achi Avram, the brother of Abraham. Bekada Ashichma, and Rivka is holding a pitcher on her shoulder. And this maid was a beautiful girl. Besula, she was a virgin. Ishla Yoda, no man had a relationship with her. Bateda Ayana, she went down to the spring. But Timalakada, she filled her pitcher. Batal, and she came up. Now she said, Psula Makum Sulim. But she had no relationship. V'ishla Yoda, Shleikadak, even unnaturally, since the Gentile girls would preserve their hymen. They would not do it naturally. They would do it unnaturally. The Torah says that she completed She completed free immoral conduct, not to have relationship through any kind of way. And this girl, and the servant ran towards her. And he said to her, Hagmeini, no, please give me a sip of water. Give me some water from your pitcher. Why did it say by Yoratz he ran? So Rashi says because he saw the water rising towards it. He saw that this is a miraculous situation. This always happened by Abraham. This is something that happened by Abraham and Isaac, that the water, and Jacob, the water rose towards them. When he saw that, he realized, wow, this girl is not a regular girl. This girl must be from the family, because it's like Abraham. It's like exactly happening what's happened to Avraham Avinu. The water is rising towards him. So he ran towards her. Rashi says, Hagmeini, expression of sipping. She said, oh, gesundheit, drink. She right away took over her shoulder the pitcher. She gave him to drink. Now she says she took it off of her shoulder. So when she finished giving him to drink, she said, I'm going to give some water. I'm going to give water to your camels. Adding kilos of the until they finish their drink. Ash says, over here the word im means that. As Uncle is translated, dis sapkun, when they had enough, because it was when they drank their fill that they finished their drink. But she quickly emptied her pitcher in the throat and ran. She ran back to the well, lishav, to get more water. She drew water for all those camels. She emptied, expression pouring out. That's number one. Rashi brings the word tar in many different places. Hashkes, that was like a hollowed out stone in which the camels would drink. Ish mishtala, and the man wondered about her. Machish ladas, he silently wanted to know. Atzliach Hashem daike, the Eibishter, the God, make his journey successful in life. Now she says, Mishta is expression of desolation, Shia. It's an utterly deserted. Mishta means he was astonished or perplexed, for he saw his mission close to success, because he didn't know who she was. He said, wow, this girl is like so charitable, so giving, like unbelievable. And he was like, wow, this is like above and beyond my expectations. So the word mishta is found, we don't find any word whose first rooted letters are shin when used with a reflex. Okay, this is all mishta. It actually goes through the word mishta, and it goes through this whole word mishta, that it's like a perplexed situation. She's like shocked in the situation. And the word mishta, astonished by her, means he was bewildered about her. Find similarly to say about Lee. When you say Lee, it means about me. Verse 22, when the camels finished to drink, so this Eliezer took a gold nose ring, Becca, which weighed a Becca, half a shekel, and then he took 2 gold bracelets, Asar Zav, weighing 10 shekel, Mishkalam for arms, and gave it to her. It actually says, why was it a Becca? This is an allusion to the shekel that the Jewish people contribute, a Becca per head. Shnei Tzmidim, why did he give it 2 bracelets? It's an allusion to the tablets of stone, 2 tablets. Asar Zav, why did they weigh 10 shekel? Because this is the 10 commandments. So everything had a meaning behind his actions. He said to Bas mi ata. He said, who are you? Whose daughter are you? Agidinali, please tell me. Yesh beis avicha makom lalam. Does your father have a place to stay? Now she says he asked her this after giving her the presents. For he was confident that on account of Avraham Avinu, the Holy One, blessed be He, made his journey successful. And if he did already, he already gave her to her. Lalin, for the night, the word lin is a noun, but she replied lalin, which means to stay, implying that we may lodge you several nights. He asked for one night. She said, you can stay here longer. She said, I'm the daughter of Besuel. Ben Milka, my grandmother, Ben Milka, the son of Milka, who she bore to Nachar. So he gave her the whole lineage in one shot. She answered his first question first, and then one last. That's what the Mishnah Gemara says. A smart person answers first question first, second question second. And she said to him, we have a lot of food at home. We have places to sleep. You're welcome to come and stay in our house. Any camel fool is called mispah, straw and barley. So now that he heard that it was family, and then Eliezer bowed his head and prostrated himself for God. He realized that he was successful. He was of Rum's family, and she was a kind-hearted individual. And that completes the Chumash for today. What happened over here? We now go to the Tanya of the day, which is the middle of the 29th letter of the Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe is explaining the concept of what the power of learning halacha, the concept of learning halacha. That and he explains. He went yesterday. Explained the concept of Torah, learning Torah that the Isha Sha'atra, he crowned her husband, is Torah Shabbat Peh, that crowns Torah Shabbat the written law, because in Torah Shabbat Peh we have the oral law, the halacha, the Jewish law. Well, the Torah Shabbat is really the reason behind the law. It's really the essence of the law, which would, as it says, that we don't comprehend the essence of the law. We don't really comprehend the essence of the law. We only comprehend really mostly the law. So you have another expression, Chassidus, Seif Ma'aseh Machshavat Tchila, that the end, the action, the beginning of thought is in the end of action. That means even though there's a lot of knowledge in Torah, and even in the reasoning of everything that we do, and everybody should learn this, but nevertheless, a person should realize that when he does a mitzvah, he's doing the ratzon of the Eibishter. He's doing the ratzon of God, which is higher than knowledge. And it's some place that connects to higher something than comprehension. And therefore, a person should ultimately realize when he does a mitzvah, he learns halacha, he's connecting to the essence of God. Even though there might be explanation to the mitzvah, but really, we don't really understand the explanation, because the ratzon of the Eibishter, the will of God. So like an example, if I ask you to do something, even if I give you a reason, but really I'm asking you because it's my need. And it's above comprehension, it's above reason, really. It's to my essence. I'm asking a person a favor. And by somebody accomplishing my favor, when I ask them that they're doing something for me, and really that's really the reason why we're doing something for somebody. It's for that person. It's not for the reasoning and what we're trying to accomplish per se. So too, when it comes to a mitzvah, even if the Torah gives a reason, and we can comprehend the reason, but really the truth is, it's the ratzon of God. And that's why even tzaddikim, the Eibishter gives reward to tzaddik in Gan Eden, it's not really the essence. What he receives is pleasure, is delight in the reason. But over there, you can't do a mitzvah. In Gan Eden, you cannot do a mitzvah. That's the problem. That's what it says that Moshe Rabbeinu is begging to come out of Gan Eden. He wants to come back. Why? Because He has all the light and godliness, but he cannot do the mitzvah. Can't put on tefillin. And that's the problem. So as much as he understands all the dimensions of this mitzvah, he's delightful of the knowledge of the mitzvah, but he can't touch the essence, because all the delight and all the dimensions is all a revelation of godliness, which is not the essence. The essence is the real will of God that the mitzvah is done, and that essence nobody comprehends. So therefore, doing the mitzvah is more powerful than all the knowledge that you're going to receive about the mitzvah. Because doing the mitzvah is what God wanted. Whether we comprehend it, whether we don't. And even what we comprehend is far from the real reason of why we're doing this mitzvah. And that's why this hidden light, hidden away for the righteous to the world to come, is called the pleasantness of God. The pleasurable, the delighting in God. And also it's brought down the Zohar, the 400 worlds of longing. The Misnaiba and Tzadikaya, which the Tzadikim delighted. This alluded, the Zohar says, to what we said in this week's Parsha. 400 shekel kesef. The word kesef comes from the Aramaic phrase of longing is almendik sufim. So it comes from the word kesef. Kesef means longing. Lichsev nafshi. The root of the second word kesef, which means also silver in English, in the Hebrew, but it's also longing. The phrase nichsev nichsafti. So it comes from the same root, to long. So Kabbalah says, what is the meaning that he gave 400 shekel kesef? That he gave by doing this, he required 400 worlds of longing, 400 spiritual worlds. That's the meaning of the transaction. That's what Avraham Avinu acquired when he gave the 400 shekel for this piece of land to do a mitzvah of kvura, to do the mitzvah of burying his wife. So he acquired 400 worlds of longing, whose spiritual delight are reserved for tzaddikim. And this light comprised of many rungs and levels. We should realize even within the 400, so to say, worlds, there is hundreds of different compartments. But Gavaya, higher and higher. But the minute radiance descends level after level to create this garment that garbs the soul. It's the lowest level of the soul. It's metaphorically speaking referred to as the external level. So we call it a levush, a garment. A garment, going back to what the Alter Rebbe said before, that a mitzvah is a garment. So the garment, the achrayim of the garment, is a garment, something separate for the person, like wears a garment. So that's why this mitzvah is a physical mitzvah, is a achrayim de kedusha, which it costs of a zayid of cheshesh of a base, but a shoot of a base, or madishtar, the state in the Zohar, and the commentary entitled Mishkan Melech, and to it and which is left, meaning that the light, which is the source of the garments, is the most external and hidden level. Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain that the external level of this radiance from which these garments derive is called the supernal will. That's the lowest, is connected to the highest. Because that's really the external will of these garments. That is really the internal will of God, that these garments be worn. It's called the supernal will. Will, as I was to explain, is the external aspect, a consequence of pleasure and delight. So now, in the soul of man, there's a faculty of pleasure. That he takes pleasure in what he finds pleasurable. You can't ask a person why he finds something pleasurable. For example, when a person likes intellect, So he finds a delight in the concept, a new concept of the like. The external aspect of the soul's power in the state of delight is a faculty of will. Willing, that he's willing what he wills. Hopefully, and it surely is something that doesn't give him pain. Because pain is the opposite of delight. So nobody wills pain. Nobody wills the concept of pain. Why? Because pain is the opposite of tainug, of delight. And therefore, everything that is will has to be a tainug. A person desires something because it gives him pleasure. Thus, pleasure is the inner motivation of desire, which is considered the external of it. So that's why it says, Nachas Ruach, the Eibush is a tainug. The Eibush is a tainug that you fulfill his will. God has a tainug for you fulfilling his will. Why does God have a tainug? You can't ask that question. Just like you can't ask a question on a person, why you have a tainug? Why you have a delight in this? Why don't you delight in something else? Right? Every person has their delight. One person delights intellect. Another person likes music. Another person likes money. Another person likes food. I don't know. Every person has a tainug. Right? People also have a tainug. They say, thank God for the economy that everybody has a tainug in different color. Some people have a tainug in red. Some people have a tainug in blue. Some people have a tainug in I don't know. Everybody has a tainug. And therefore, they're buying different colors. Imagine if everybody had a tainug in one color. Then everybody would be wearing the same color. It would be a very colorless world. The Eibushter gives a tainug, it's higher than understanding why a person is more likes blue. You can't ask the question, why you like blue? Why you like green? Because that's my type. I don't know why. I like blue. I'm drawn to that color. I have a tainug, and that's why I buy everything blue or red, whatever it might be. So too, everybody has a tainug in almost everything in life. A person has a tainug. He has a delight in something. And the second he has a tainug in something, he has a rotzen to something. And that's l'mayla manasechel. That's really above comprehension. It ultimately comes into a lavush that he does these things because he has a tainug. So somebody who likes to learn more, he likes to learn more. Somebody likes to do chesed, he has a tainug in chesed. It could be a concept of a person having a delight in chesed, in the concept of kindness, and therefore he's drawn to that. And that's his ratzin. The kachal derech mashal be'er safe, and they can find the same thing because mibsari echselaka. So just like I can find within me, so too in this concept of godliness. Now you understand what it says. The Eibush says, "I have a tainug." L'sanig alavaya. The ratzin of the Eibushter. That we're just trying to explain something to the depths of something. There's the chachma of the Eibushter, there's the ratzin of the Eibushter. Talk to us is the chachma of a human being, there's the ratzin of a human being, the tainug of a human being. Gam ken kaviyachal. It's not the same. It's metaphoric. It's an analogy. You can't compare yourself to God. You can't compare no concept of tainug by God. The tainug is a concept, a human concept. Tainug, delight. So it's a metaphor. That the external aspect of Ratzin, which Ratzin is higher than wisdom, but the Ratzin will is the external aspect of tainug. The real concept of the Eibush is tainug. The Eibush has tainug. That when a Jew does something, he has tainug. Why is it tainug? Because that's what the God wanted. He doesn't need to have it. That's what he wanted. He said, I have a tainug. I have a delight when a person does something. Good. So when a person does the will of God, he should realize that if he wants to go deeper, that he's doing the einig of God. He's pasha giving God delight. V'noyam Hashem, it's the sweetness. It's the pleasantness of God. You're pasha giving God himself tainug and pleasant. And that's why the Torah is called the tainug, the delight of God, because it's the wisdom of God, it's the will of God, it's the delight of God. So a person should realize that when he learns Torah, and he learns even halacha, he's not only learning the will of God, he's not only learning the wisdom of God, He's not only learning the will of God, he is actually learning what gives the Eibishter pleasure. It's a pleasurable third, the worlds of longing. It goes higher than any wizard's longing. It's what a person ultimately creates a longing to. Nichser, my heart, my soul desires. Thus, when we state that the garments of the soul derive from the Achrayim and Chutzenis, the supernal light, it means that it really derives from supernal will. And we should realize that every mitzvah, every halacha, we're connecting to the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is a tainug of there, which is true delight of God. Though these supernal delights and supernal will are fused in absolute unity, because by the Eibush there's no compartments, there's no tainug, ratzah, and chah. There's all one thing. Shem Echad. The Eibush is one. By a person, you can divide into different categories. Tainug, delight, he has ratzon, he has will, he has chachma, he has wisdom, he has ava, yira. All these are separate in a way. By the Eibush, it's one. Who chachmas yachad? The Eibush is wisdom, and him is one. There's no separation. God forbid to make divisions in HaKadosh Baruch. You cannot, for heaven forbid, that it's like man, a human being, and not neither only partially, no comparison between a human being and God. And there's no similarity between a human being and God. Man's will is not wholly one with person himself. It is one of the soul faculties, his will, that he possesses. Man has what is will? Will is part of his neshama. By contrast, God and his will is none. There's no comparison between a human being and God. I'm not trying to compare God to a human being. It's a metaphor. How then can we differentiate above between pleasure and will? Saying that God's pleasure is internal and his will is external. How do we do that? And by God, everything's one. But again, Alter Rebbe said this many times, this expression in the Gemara. The Torah talks human talk. And the Torah does say the Ratzon of the Eibishter. And the Torah does say the will of God. The Torah says the nachas of God, the light of God. It does say these expressions. And it's a metaphor self for the sort of human being should be smart to realize that there's no concept by God, will, desire. It's all one. It's all God. But nevertheless, the Torah talks that way. And since the Torah talks that way, then the Torah wants you to have that metaphor. That's why we try to be godly. Because we should have tainug, we should have ratzon, like the Eibishter has, so to say this. So to say, metaphorically, say himself as a God is above that. Ain't safe, is infinite. God talks the language of man. Why did God talk like man? Because for a model for the year. Should be able to hear. The Eibishter gave the Torah that humans should hear it. And if God didn't talk in the words of humans, then they would never hear anything. Then it would be a secret. The Eibishter spoke as human because the Eibishter said that God spoke and God heard and God said and God felt and God got angry, God got frustrated, all these expressions. These are human expressions. Because the Eibishter wanted that person should understand what he's talking about. And a person understands through human terminology. Which self-understood to a Yid, he understands that these expressions are only a comparison to God, are only a melitza, it's only a metaphor relating to the soul of man, which compounds the faculty of delight, will, wisdom, understanding, and so on. So just like we can learn that I learned from my body, my soul. My soul is also compared to my body. My soul is spiritual. My soul is like Ein Sof compared to my body. My body is totally time, and my soul, even though it's a creation, is still above and beyond my body. So therefore, I give the analogy. But my soul has will, my soul has delight, my soul has wisdom. So to say, the Eibishter has these things. Near the Bechush, we see it openly. Chush empirically, we see it openly. When a person can see some wonderful new insight. After that, he keeps on giving because that's the beauty of humanity as wisdom, and always can learn new. That's the beauty. A human being can constantly learn new. So when a person learns something new, if he loves intellects, it just makes more sense. When you learn something new that you never heard before, at that moment you get a wondrous delight. You feel like a wondrous situation. Wow, something I never knew opens up like avenues in your brains, and you get a delight. Tainug nifl b'sichli. You get a delight. Mikol shet miklau. So it follows shet tainug l'mayla b'chilas sech b'chapus. Comes out from this that if you get a delight when you understand something totally new, that shows that the light is far beyond even anything, even wisdom, even your wisdom. It's enclosed in wisdom, because your delight is in your brains, but it's above and beyond it. Because if you understand the concept of delight, that I suddenly have a delight in this concept, wow, I feel uplifted. Changes my molecules in my brain. And when man feels a subject intellectually and intellect and wisdom, that he understands what he's learning. Not only did he heard a gewaltige Wort, heard an unbelievable concept, but he actually understands it. So now it's a great delight. He feels then the present. He feels then the tainug that's enclosed in this wisdom. He feels, wow, this is a desirable concept. This is a tainug. This wisdom is Pasha giving me such delight, such happiness. That's why in the Zohar, the level of Bina is Eilam Haba. Because then we'll truly understand. So right now we're learning, we're not getting tainug out of it, because we really don't understand it. When we'll understand it, whether it's in Gan Eden, when Mashiach comes, we're going to have a true delight. Then we're going to understand what true understanding is, what true delight is. She's bichinas as galas ha-chochma, which is a state of manifestation of chochma together with the delight vested in it. Shemasigim ha-tzadikim began Eden, when the tzaddikim, the righteous people, understand what they have done. They've done Torah, they've done mitzvahs, they've done all these things. They never understood it. They didn't realize the tainug, the real delight in it, because it was hidden to them. It's hidden to most of us. The delights that we're learning and we're doing and we're creating this aura around us. That's the lavusha. We're creating these garments around us. And ultimately, we're going to realize what is the true delight in all this. It's going to open our eyes to unbelievable delight in everything that we have done. What they understand in the innermost mystical dimensions in the Torah. So they did the halacha, we followed the halacha, but we didn't understand the tainug of the halacha. We understand the wisdom of the halacha, but we didn't understand the ratzin, the true will of God, and therefore we never touched the true tainug of God, the true delight in God. Because the Torah derives from the wisdom of God, that we all can agree. And the Torah is one with God. So therefore, in the Torah, in the wisdom of God, is already the ratzon of the Eibishter, and is also the tainug of God. So thus, through gaining a perception in Ptimis HaTorah, in the manner which the soul apprehends in the Gan Eden, where it apprehends the essence of godliness, And this delight itself, as the Alter Rebbe is utterly adds, is utterly inwards, as explained above. The soul gains an apprehension of God's infinite light. That's why it's also important to learn Chassidus now. And all the Chassidus that you're learning, as sometimes I say, you have the Kabbalistic words, all these things that you're learning that you don't maybe hearing about it, you're learning about it. It comes in your chachma, it comes in your wisdom, but you really don't see the ratzon, the real reason behind it, and you really don't see the real delight in it. It's Shem. Don't worry. We'll all merit to see the true tainug, the true delight in this learning. And so the more you just keep on gaining the utterly inwards, as explained above, the soul gains an apprehension of God's infinite light. And in order for it to be able to absorb this degree of illumination, it must equipped with protective and receptive garments of mitzvahs. So therefore, the more garments you do, the more mitzvahs you do, the more learning you do, the more Torah you learn, creating more garments, more, and that will be able, and since these garments are the will of the Eibush, this mitzvah and this Torah is the ratzon and the tainig of God, whether I understand it or not, I understand that this is the wisdom of God. If it's the wisdom of God, then it's the ratzon of God, the will of God, and it's the tainig of God. So this mitzvah, this garment that I put on, will ultimately give me the capability to feel the real ratzon of the Eibishter, which is a revelation of God's will and a revelation of even God's of delight of God that He had in everything that I've learned, everything that I've done. Beautiful, beautiful letter of the Alter Rebbe. We have just ended today, 29th letter of the Alter Rebbe. Today is the 20th day of Cheshvan. It's a very special day. First of all, the Tillim of the day, the Psalms of the day is chapter 97 to chapter 103. You do those chapters, you do the Chitas of the day. The Rebbe writes in the Yom Yom, the day today is the birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. The birth of Shalom Deiber in the year, it was the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe. In the year which Tzemach Tzedek, which was his grandfather, termed Keser. The year 5621 was 1860. And he was named from the Mittler Rebbe, and half was named from the Tzemach Tzedek's father. So he had two names. Shalom Doiber. Doiber was the Mittler Rebbe. Shalom was the Tzemach Tzedek's father. Tzedek was the grandson of the Alter Rebbe. His mother was the daughter of the Alter Rebbe. They divided, and his father was Shalom. Every year, my father delivered a maimah on his birthday. The Frierdiker Rebbe says every year, my father delivered a maimah on his birthday, but he did so secretly, except when he coincided with Shabbos. He would say it publicly, but every time he did it privately. He used to call the Frierdiker Rebbe into his room, and he would say a maimah, a discourse. On the last birthday here on this earth, he said the maimah, said this maimah. When he concluded, he said to me, because he did it privately, he said on one's birthday, he should say chassidus. When you're the birthday, you should say chassidus, you should say a maimah. May God give you a gift that you say chassidus on your birthday. But it should be done with kindness and mercy. It took 6 years for that to happen. At the bottom, he explains the meaning of this story, what it means it took 7 years for that to happen. The festival of the liberation of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe from Soviet prison happened on his birthday, the 12th of Tammuz, in the year 1927. During his 7 years as Rebbe, he succeeded to the leadership in 1920. So when the Frierdiker Rebbe, when his father told him you should say Chassidus, and you should say it in a way that kindness and mercy, he said it on the day that he was liberated. That was his birthday. That's the meaning of the story. So he said, in essence, his liberation brought him about, his whole situation brought about that even though he was a Rebbe already 7 years, he was a Rebbe, but he never did it. He never accomplished what his father told him on 7 years before. It took him 7 years to accomplish what his father wanted him to do. That he should say Chassidus on the day of his birthday, and he should say it, Chesed u'Barachamim. He should say it with kindness and mercy. So it took him his whole 7 years to ultimately, in the day of his liberation, where he said a Maimah, on Yud Beis Tammuz, 1927, he accomplished his father's bracha that he gave him 7 years before. Beautiful. Whatever that means, whatever the Frierdiker Rebbe meant, that he took him the liberation. In essence, that the day of liberation was a liberation of everything to him. It was not only a liberation from his imprisonment, death penalty, but it was actually a liberation of his own soul. That he reached the level of his father's, that his chassidus after liberation was different than the chassidus that he said before his liberation. And that's what he meant, Pashtus. It took him 7 years to accomplish what his father wanted to say, how to say chassidus. And I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. And Emet Hashem will continue tomorrow, 8 o'clock. They have a wonderful and beautiful day. Also, I wanted to mention that if you want to come tonight to the class, great class, JLI class, Kabbalah of Meaning, phenomenal class. The concept of meaning, what is the meaning of life, personal life. Wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. Have a gorgeous, beautiful day.